Portfolio accepted.
Hi, Alan. How are you? Nice to meet you. I like to see a guy has a camera everywhere. Can't stop. You can't stop, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get started. There's a lot of stuff to look at. I basically like this. I felt I wasn't seeing enough. You know, when you're in a space like this, you need the widest lens you can find or steal. You know, I'm not. I like the like. I like what's going on, but the floor is just cut off here, and I'd like to see some floor. Is this like New Haven or where?
It's Union Station in Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah. Yeah, I've shot in train stations, and you know, to get the skylight and to get the light down here, it's a little dull in here, you know. But basically a good job. But I would like to see the floor, and I just don't know if you didn't have the wide enough coverage, or that's was your choice, or
it's a bit hidden, but there's actually a railing. It's it's overlooking, so it would have been really difficult to try to get the same kind of feel and get the floor as well.
Yeah, I understand. I just feel like I'm seeing too little of it, of the space. I like how the perspective of the building's kind of going up like this. It's kind of a gray day. I think that the light's not as interesting as it could be, but I like the graphics of it.
Yeah.
Good attempt at the family. I don't like the environment so much.
Okay.
You know, you have this dark panel with a million photos on it. The dad, everybody looks great. I mean, I applaud you because everybody does look really good in the shot, but the dad is so far above everybody, and I liked everybody to be a little bit closer. But you have these large empty areas with this big piano. If they could have been further away, and you could have really just lit them and lit the background as a separate element to try to minimize it, I think it would have been stronger. If there was a way for the dad to be a little bit lower, but everybody looks great, and I think the colors work, and lots of arms and legs, but you have a lot of people there, but they look great. That's wonderful. I think she looks good. I think we could have styled her hair a little bit more here, and this is a nice transformation. I think the shadows are a little heavy-handed, particularly right underneath. You know, the shadow would be much thinner there. Fine. This is the one I kind of have a little bit of a problem with.
I plan on burning that picture later, actually.
Yeah, well, we'll have a party. It's styling, one thing, you know, away from the background. Something going right through her head, and, you know, I have no idea what's going on with her. You know, just her expression, what she's looking at.
It was in a bank, and the front of her office was a glass looking into the lobby of the bank, and all the tellers were out in the lobby just making faces at her and teasing her the whole time.
Right. Probably not the best scenario. This is nice. This works. I like the little New York thing popping up. This I really hope not to have to talk about, but I will. It's a dynamic concept. I don't know if the execution is really that successful.
Okay.
I think there's a blatancy that there doesn't need to be.
Okay.
You know, that I understand you're making a point, you know, you're trying to be humorous about it, but I really think that, first of all, the angle is just so, it's not sexy, it's provocative, but, you know, it's just, you know, this leg coming like this, we see what's going on, but I think it could have been done with more taste and more humor.
Okay.
You know, but you know, it's just too kind of graphic for me. I have to look at this a little closer. I see it's the Starbucks girl popping up on the hand. Seen her a lot. Yeah, I mean that works. I mean I've seen also you've been playing with fire, and you like to play with fire apparently. It's fun. This is nice. I would like to see the background just a little bit softer. It's a tough time of year where you have bare branches, and even though they go soft, you still have to be careful of it. I'm seeing an awful lot of neck, and there's not a lot of detail in here, so that kind of gets very strong in here, if you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of delineation, and even though I can appreciate the light on her face and her kind of looking off in the mood, this pulls my attention in very strongly.
Okay.
You know, gee, what a pretty woman, and I think it's kind of odd. You know, this shoulder turned right toward me. There's so many wrinkles in here that I want that to be cleaner. But, you know, her tonality and skin is nice. It kind of works, but I would have liked something turned more towards the camera.
Okay.
This I thought was really interesting because I think it's a really beautiful thing. And I read the copy, and it's about a sword fitting, so maybe I'm too literal, but I'd like to understand it a little bit better. I mean, I assume what it is that piece on a Japanese sword that kind of...
It's the handguard, yeah.
It's a handguard. I would have liked to seen some propping to support it. Maybe
Okay.
the edge of the sword coming in,
Okay.
or near the handle, something to explain it. Now it's sitting. Is it sitting on like a little wood shelf or something like that?
Yeah, it was in the prop room. We have it's a slice of wood, and it just sort of had just enough of an edge there to hold it,
Right.
so that I could keep everything propped and looking nice, and it didn't slide everywhere.
Well, so it's standing up.
Yeah.
Why didn't you lay it down flat?
Well, it was actually about like that.
Slanted. Why wasn't it flat so you can move it wherever you wanted? You know, in other words, if I have a tabletop, then I put it down here and I put the camera up here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to look through the camera, but we do that all the time when stuff slides around. What I'm saying is, you're using it to support it, but I find it really distracting sitting on that lip.
Okay.
You know, I think there needed to be more here. I think it's a really beautiful object. The lighting could be a bit stronger, but it's not telling me enough of a story.
Okay.
You know, part of what I'm taken in by is that the object itself is so beautiful. I don't know if the concept and the photography is beautiful enough to support it. It's not telling me enough of the story.
Okay.
I thought this was very cute. You probably heard me laugh out loud, and I don't know if this is intentional, and you know I laughed, right?
I think I was busy worrying about everything else.
Okay. It says think fun, right next to his head.
Okay.
You know, this guy is he's not having any fun. I thought it was ironic.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't know if that was their intent or not.
Not intentional, but
Well, it made me laugh. You know, but that's the thing. If there are words in the photo, people will read them.
Yeah.
And when you see think fun looking next to this guy, I think that's ironic, and that makes me laugh. Because he's not having fun. I think the print's a little heavy. I think you could print it lighter, have some nicer tones. She was really pretty, but except for this picture, she has the same expression. You know, it's almost like you took her face and plastered it on the form. I'd like to see a little bit more variety. Cute, but very static until we get to here, and I think this is more successful because we're getting more from her.
okay.
Lots of product, lots of product, lots of product, lots of product. I see that you like fire and sushi. Okay. The flowers are lovely. I like the yellow and green. I remember, actually, I'm going to go down so I can look and talk about what I'm looking at. I think the focus was...
It was a little shallow.
Yeah, a little shallow. I think that the lighting on the sushi could have been a little bit better to focus on it. I'm glad to see that it seems to me you used a combination of like use some hard light to go across the sushi to get some glare, you know, some spark on it,
Yeah.
but used a broadswords to fill in the shadows.
Yeah.
You know, and I plugged you with that. I would assume, is it a double exposure?
Nope, it's all one exposure.
It's all one exposure.
Drag the shutter to get the fire.
Okay. And what did you use for fire? How did you create fire?
I used I used a plate of metal with rubber cement.
Okay. Yeah, the fire marshal loves that, I'm sure.
You
Yeah.
should see all the shots I did for the digitally altered with the fire.
Oh boy, I bet. I'm not sure about how I feel about it. It's an interesting idea, but I don't know if it's selling me.
Okay.
What the point is. Again with the sushi burger and the shoes on the beach.
The initial intention was that it was to look like a Zen garden, but the sand was too coarse and it just ended up looking like a bad beach scene.
Yeah.
So I kind of propped it as such.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, oh, it's interesting he did it. Why did he do it? And then I'm scratching my head and I'm still scratching my head. I thought these were really interesting. I would have liked to see more focus in here. I think the focus is in and out, but glow sticks are always fun. This again, you know, playing with the sushi, but just the fact that it's focused here wasn't enough information for me. I don't think it's a tight competition. On this, I think the spot was too tight. I didn't think the focus, you know, had to be sharp from edge to edge, and that wasn't for me. But I do like the quality of like you have on the metal. I thought this was nice. That's, you know, nice quality coming through the middle. This shot, I thought again was a nice shot, but I would have liked to see focus on the center one. top and bottom. This of your glassware I thought was weakest. You know, it just didn't have a nice, sharp, clean edge to it. This I thought was better. It's one of those shots that kind of looks better under the loop and the details than it does